This short video shows you how to use the indicator NotBareGround when using Checking for Change, a practical guide to checking whether sites newly managed for conservation are on track to improve. Now, you may be accustomed to measuring bare ground. We use NotBareGround because it's actually easier to interpret the numbers. You're looking for an increase in NotBareGround over time. So here's the start peg for my survey line, and step 0 is when I put my foot directly against it. So if you look down at my foot, you'll see I've marked my boot with a nice white stripe and even a little arrow at the end so that I can look directly down at the ground underneath that arrow. And what I see is some plants and some litter, and so that is not bare ground. So what I'll do is get to my data sheet and I'll mark for step 0, tick, not bare ground at that step. That's step 0, then I go to step 1. For step 1, if I look directly down that arrow, what I find is bare ground. So I don't mark anything on my data sheet. Then I go to step 2. Again, I look at my little arrow and what I see are some live plants. So that is not bare ground. I go to my data sheet for step 2, I put a tick because that is not bare ground. I'll do that for all steps along my survey line. And when I get to the very end, at the very end of my data sheet, I will simply add up the number of ticks for areas that were not bare ground. That might be something like 15. I'll divide by the number of steps that I've taken, which should be around 50, but it could be a bit more or a bit less. Do the maths there, multiply by 100, and that gives me the percent of the site that is not bare ground.